As an operations manager, my entire world is about the tiny little details. I spend my days looking at our products, our services, our processes, and I'm basically hunting for imperfections. Why? Because every little inconsistency tells a story about the business. Let me show you what I mean with a really simple everyday example.
Take a look at this. Yeah, it's just a package of fig bars. But you see that one cookie, the one turned the wrong way? Now, to most people, that's absolutely nothing. But to me, that's a data point. It's a signal. It's telling me there's some variation on our packaging line. And understanding that variation, that's the key to making smart decisions based on data instead of just, guessing. Now, I know what some of you are probably thinking. The second I say data or variation, your mind just jumps right to statistics. And you might think of something super complex or, like this student said, a bit math geeky. But I really want you to try and reframe that. Think of it less like a math class and more like a detective's toolkit for the real world of business. It's practical stuff.
Because here's the thing. Here's the fundamental challenge for every single manager out there. Variation is everywhere. It's in everything. The time it takes to answer a customer's call, the exact weight of a bag of coffee, daily sales numbers. It's all gonna vary. That's totally normal. So the million-dollar question isn't if there's variation, but what kind of variation is it? Is it just normal, random noise? Or is it a sign that something's actually wrong? Acting when you shouldn't can be just as damaging as not acting when you should.
So, how do we even begin to answer that question? Well, we have to see the story that the data is trying to tell us. Before we run a single calculation, the very first step is always to visualize the patterns. We've got to turn all those raw numbers into a picture that we can actually understand.
And one of the simplest but most powerful tools we have for that is the dot plots. Seriously, think of it like your first look detective tool. It just takes all your individual data points and lines them up. And instantly, bam, you get a gut feeling for what's going on. You can see where the data is clustering, how spread out it is, and you get a sense of its general shape.
Let's look at a real example, the price of the prescription drug Lipitor in a few different cities. This one simple dot plot tells us a ton, just at a single glance. Right away, we can see the whole price range, from around $60 to over $90. We can see that prices in Providence tend to be higher, while New Orleans trends lower. And maybe most importantly, it shows us that even inside the same city, there's a whole lot of variation. These are real, actionable business insights, all from just a few dots on a line. Now, when we have a lot more data and we want to see the bigger picture, we can level up to the histogram. So instead of plotting every single point, a histogram groups the data into these little buckets, or bins, and then it shows us how many data points fall into each one. This is fantastic for getting a really clear look at the overall shape of your process. Is it balanced and symmetrical? Is it skewed one way or the other? The histogram tells you. And you know what the best part is? You don't need some fancy, expensive, specialized software to do any of this. These incredibly powerful tools are sitting right there inside programs you probably use every single day, like Microsoft Excel. It's all just about knowing where to click. Making a histogram in Excel is just a really straightforward 5-step process. You just select your data, you open up the Data Analysis Tool Pack, which, by the way, is a free add-in. You choose the histogram option, tell it where your data is and how you want to group it, and then you just click OK. It's that simple to go from a confusing column of numbers to a really clear, insightful chart. And here's what that actually looks like in practice. See, you're not trying to navigate some crazy complex menus. You just have to tell Excel 2 things. On the right, you can see that little dialog box where you define your input range. That's just your column of numbers, and your bin range. That's how you want to group them. The whole thing is designed to get you from that raw data to a clear visual as fast as possible.
Okay, so we know how to visualize the data now. Let's talk about the why. When we're looking at these charts, what we're really trying to do is diagnose our process. And to do that, we need to understand the 2 most important vital signs of any process: its center and its variability.
Imagine 2 machines that are supposed to be drilling holes. Machine A's holes are, on average, exactly the right size, so the process is centered correctly. But the holes are all over the place. Some are too big, some are too small. The variation is way too high. It's totally unpredictable. Now, machine B is the complete opposite. It's incredibly consistent, very low variation, but every single hole is just a little bit too small. It's precise, but it's not accurate. And here's the crucial point. These are 2 completely different problems that need 2 completely different solutions. You can't fix one by trying to solve for the other. And this brings us right back to that core challenge we started with. Understanding the type of variation you're seeing, that's what allows you, as a manager, to make the right call. Do I step in and do something, or do I leave this process alone? So statisticians basically divide variation into two types. First, you have common cause variation. This is the normal, expected, random noise that's just part of any stable process. And your action here is critical. Do nothing. Leave it alone. If you start reacting to every tiny little up and down, you're just going to add more variation and make things worse. The second type is called special cause variation. This is different. This is a signal. It's coming from some outside factor, a new supplier, maybe a broken tool, an operator who wasn't trained right. This is the alarm bell going off. And your action here is to investigate immediately, find that root cause, and get rid of it.
So the next time you see an imperfection, a little delay, or a number that just seems a bit off, don't just react. First, visualize the data. Then ask yourself, is my process centered correctly? Is the amount of variation I'm seeing acceptable? And, most importantly, is this just common noise, or is this a special cause that needs my attention? Every single process in your business is telling a story through its variation. The real question is, are you equipped to listen?